See, one thing that I'm getting sick and tired of is liars, right? And you get tired of lies, right? Because you hear the same stuff over and over and over again, right? Now, be honest with me. Now, do you ever dream of ways of impacting the world? Make some noise if you do. Do you ever dream of ways of making a difference before you leave this earth? Make some noise if you do. Let's be truthful about that. Can we do that? All right, that's good, that's good. Well, let me welcome everybody to the 8th annual KJLH Men's Empowerment Summit. You guys have been coming out for the past 8 years or so. We're coming together young and seasoned to open ourselves up to receive those valuable seeds of wisdom, information, and knowledge that will empower us to live out our purpose, right? Now, years ago, the so-called powers that be, the powers and rulers and principalities, I do believe has launched an attack on black men specifically. Now, I've lived long enough on this earth to kind of look back in retrospect and see the schemes. You get what I'm saying? How they have placed their foots on our necks and our backs, right? For many, many, many years, because I got a feeling that they know who we are, but we don't know who we are. They know who we are, right? And they've tried many, many ways to completely exterminate and wipe us out, because we don't know that we are the original seed of the Most High God. Do you hear what I'm saying? We are the original seed of the Most High God. Ask me how I know these things. Just ask me how I know. Because we've gone for so long, right? With so little, but we've done so much. Everything that we touch turns to gold, right? Everything that we do, every arena that we're a part of excels, right? So you cannot tell me that we're not the original seed of the Most High God. Do you feel what I'm saying? So think about that, everybody. Think about that for a second or two. And one thing that I've noticed too is that these same rulers and principalities have somehow convinced and enticed some of our women to the point where they think they're better without us, fellas. Huh? Have you noticed that? Fellas, talk back to me. Am I lying? Why y'all shy up in here? Huh? Why y'all shy up in here? Talk back to me. But I got a message to the ladies who's here today. Guess what? We are much stronger together. We're much stronger together. So guess what we have to do? Now we have the opportunity to go back to teach our kids the ways and the precepts of our God. Of our God. We can't be stepping outside of the parameters of his commandments and his laws and decrees, right? We got to stop stepping outside of that. Because he says, if my people would what? Humble themselves and do what? Seek his face. And then we always forget about the last part he says, return, right? Turn from our wicked ways and go back to him, right? Now, I don't have anything against politicians, anything like that, but we have to put God first and foremost. You understand what I'm saying? And this is not religious jargon. I'm not giving you religion. I'm not talking about that at all, right? But I do believe that there is a mechanism, something that he placed inside of us that we know left from right, right from wrong, right? That something kind of nudges us like it's a nagging, nebulous feeling on the inside of us. We go like, this ain't quite right. This ain't quite right, right? So we can't be bribed. We can't be bought off, right? And think about what has happened to this generation right now because we have sold. We've been sellouts. We've been sellouts, right? Am I being honest? Y'all better talk back to me now. So this is what this Men's Empowerment Summit is all about, all right? So I hope you've come prepared to take plenty of notes, right? If you have any questions, please raise your hand and speak up and speak out. Don't be shy. Today is not the day to be timid because we got a whole lot of work to do. And guess what? Do we have a whole lot of time? Do y'all feel that we don't have a whole lot of time, right? Look what just happened a couple weeks ago, right? When we thought we were on the right path and the right track of getting reparations. What happened? Huh? So what we saying? What we doing? What we doing? What we gonna do? We just gonna sit back and be passive? Huh? Okay. All right, so I stumbled across this scripture, everybody, this morning during my quiet time. I could not believe this, and this is why I know that the Spirit of the Most High God is here with us. It's in Psalm 133. Verses 1 through 3. Are you guys familiar with that one? Psalm 133. Listen to what it says, right? It says, behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Have you guys read that before? I'm going to read that one again. It says, behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Now, just imagine if we were on one accord, because we got a few in the flock that just willing to kind of sell out, take a bribe or whatever, right? And sell out their own people. Have you noticed that? We got to open our eyes, guys. I mean, something happened to me. Once you turn 50 years old, you've collected enough dots to kind of, put the pieces to the puzzle together, So we got to let the young people know, like, hey, have you ever been 50 before? Listen to me. Ask the young people, have you ever been 50? When you turn 50 years old, man, now I can see clearly now. Am I lying or is it just me? So it says, behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Now, this is in the Bible. It says, it's like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down the beard, even Aaron's beard. You sound like you know what I'm talking about. That went down to the skirts of his garments as the dew of Hermon and as the dew that descended upon the mountains of Zion. Now, listen to this. It says, for there the Lord commanded the what? The blessing. Where we going to get that blessing from? Huh? And why are we looking outside of him for it, right? He says, for there the Lord commanded. Isn't that good news? Commanded. Don't we want him to do that right now? To command a blessing, even life forevermore. Put that one in your notes, everybody. Put that as a precept, Psalm 133, 1 through 3. All right, so today we're going to be focused on the 4 areas. So we got the 4 pillars. By the way, this thing is called the Black Print, Men of Impact. And I asked you guys if you guys wanted to be a man of impact. 4 key areas. We're talking about health and spirituality. We got to do better. We got to eat better. I hate to say it. I mean, I'm from the South, right? But we got to minimize the soul food, the fried chicken, all the fried foods. We got to do that, right? We talked about spirituality as well, right? Spiritual health, finances. We got to get it together in terms of finances, right? So we got a pillar for that. Relationship. Like I said, ladies, we are what? Stronger what? We're stronger together. And plus, we're going to be talking about evolve beyond your ego today. So we got a whole lot of things planned for you. It's 9:14. I know Karen is over there like, okay, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Let's get some prayer in. Who do we have? Bishop, counselor, Counselor, Mayor Pro Tem of Carson, Bishop Jawan Hilton. Come on up, give us some prayer.
I want to take this opportunity to welcome you all to the city of Carson. Let's bow our heads real quick in a word of prayer. Father, thank you this morning that we come for this opportunity of empowerment and encouragement. We pray that we would leave empowered, encouraged, and renewed. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen.
Oh, I didn't say my name. I'm sorry. I just don't like to bring attention to myself. My name is Kevin Nash of KJLH, everybody. I apologize. I kind of like to stay low-key and quiet and don't like to bring too much attention to myself, but just give it all up to the Most High God. Before we bring up our video, and Dr. Franklin's coming up, let me give a few thanks out, everybody. I want to thank our General Sales Manager, Ron Turner, for taking the lead. Give him a round of applause. Mr. Ron Turner, it's right there. We got our Vice President, General Manager, Karen Slade is here. She's in the back. Thank you, Karen. Karen is retiring, and a very special welcome to the KJLH family coming in to be our new General Manager. Tammy Honesty is here. Give her a great big warm welcome, everybody. I want to thank all of our street team members who's working behind the scenes to make sure you got water, the music is being played. Give them a great big round of applause. We got our tech team in the back as well, who's making sure that the video and everything is being streamed properly, so give them a great big round of applause as well. Our promotions director, too, Shanice Johnson. Give her a great big round of applause. Our entire team is here, too, from KJLH. I know Mr. Guy Black is here. Give him a round of applause. Andre Russell is here. Ricky Ruckus is here. Lon McHugh, Hugh Fuller, Tammy Mack, Ade Lamar. They're all here. Give them a great big round of applause. And also, thanks to our sponsors, we have to give it up big for Cal State Dominguez Hills for giving us their space every year for the past 8 years. Senator Steve Bradford's been working hard. That man is working hard on our behalf. So give it up for Senator Steve Bradford as well. AARP, I got mine. I just say when you turn, I got mine. Y'all ready? All right, cool. And also Chase Bank as well. All right, so at this time, let's bring up the VP of Student Affairs, Dr. William Franklin. Dr. William Franklin, give it up, y'all.
Thank you, Brother Nash. I am so excited to have you all here. KJLH at CSUDH. Doesn't it have a nice ring to it? In my head, I feel like playing Kendrick Lamar's anthem, They Not Like Us. Because they are not. There are 22 other siblings in the Cal State system, but KJLH is here, and we are excited to have you. As he said, I'm William Franklin, the Vice President for Student Affairs here, and my job is to quickly introduce my president, who is in Washington, D.C. right now and cannot be here, but we are excited. We want you to know that at Cal State Dominguez Hills, we are intentional about focusing on men of color. We have a program that is the oldest in the system called the Male Success Alliance. It is celebrating its 16th year this year at Cal State Dominguez Hills. And we had so much success with that program that we decided, let's try to do it for the entire system. So we have a program called the California State University Young Males of Color Consortium, and we're serving literally over 400,000 students because we know the importance of focusing on young men. So without any further ado, because my president loves to talk, and you'll see that on this 8-minute video, so I don't want to take up any more time. Let me throw the video to him. But welcome to the Toro Nation. We're glad to have you.
Hello. For those of you I've not had the privilege of meeting, I'm Dr. Thomas Parham, President of your California State University, Dominguez Hills. And on behalf of our students, our intellectual talented faculty and staff, our over 115,000 alumni, including Karen Bass and Rex Richardson, Emma Sharif, Lula Davis Holmes, Alice Vargas, Senator Steve Bradford, who just finished his term, Tina McKenna, and others. I want to welcome you to this year's 2024 Empowerment Summit, sponsored by KJLH Radio. Now, you know, I'm an LA homeboy and I grew up with kindness, joy, love, and happiness. So I appreciate that KJLH space. And so in this space, I want to welcome you to what I think is one of the most important events we host on this campus every year. The biggest challenge we face as a people is what I call the need for mental liberation. And anytime we have a chance to gather as a community with the support of KJLH and this university to try to dislodge people from those comfortable categories of intellectual, emotional, and behavioral apathy that keep us locked in the way things have always been rather than the way things might be, I want to applaud that. Now, I also want to provide a special recognition to the visionary leader of KJLH Radio, a genius in his own right. All of us know Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder is just an iconic figure in our community, beloved certainly in his own right, musical genius for sure, but always has a heart for his community. And we at California State University, Dominguez Hills want him to know that we appreciate him. And Stevie, if you're listening, we love you, brother. We also want to applaud the outstanding staff, led by General Manager Karen Slade, also Ron Turner, all of my friends who are DJs there at KJLH Radio. You know, I grew up with kindness, joy, love, and happiness. And so the transformative work that you have been doing throughout the decades has really made a difference in my life, and I just appreciate it. Now, this is the 7th year that we are celebrating this Empowerment Summit on the campus of CSUDH. So this summit precedes me by a year. And I'm glad that it relocated from where it used to be to where it is now, because this is where that home should be. And the commitment between your California State University, Dominguez Hills, and KJLH Radio is one that is so important to us as a campus. This is what I call an enduring partnership that has fostered community empowerment and growth. I just appreciate that and applaud it. Now, this year's theme, the Black Print, Men of Impact, emphasizes the program's focus on key areas. So let me try to outline those. 1, the advancement of skills. How do you think about developing the tools and skills to uplift our communities? How do you learn to negotiate through the pathways to productivity and success is what we want you focusing on today. Another area, health and wellness. How do we promote mental, physical, and spiritual health in a way that helps you thrive and be at your best? A third area we'll focus on will be relationships and family. And how do we think about strengthening the relationships and the partnerships among ourselves, friends, and family, and those bonds of connectedness and community closeness that are so important for our community to thrive. A fourth area, we can't get out of here today without talking about financial literacy and empowering through financial education and stability, because that is part of the key to empowerment in our communities, is making sure that we have that financial literacy. A fifth area we'll focus on will be mentorship, and highlighting the importance of both being mentors and having mentors. Let me say that again. Being mentors and having mentors. You are never too old to learn, but you're also never too old or young to be able to reach out a hand to be able to pull somebody else up. Now, beyond those 5 themes that you'll see woven throughout the programmatic initiatives today, I want to provide a special salute and recognition to all of the professional participants who are here. I want to applaud all of the professionals for their profound impact on the lives of Black men and women and for enriching our communities. So to the men in the audience, I want to commend your foresight in seeking knowledge and commitment to bring this wisdom back to your communities. But hear me well. There's a difference, my brothers, between possessing intellect and dispensing wisdom. Let me say that again. There's a difference between possessing intellect and dispensing wisdom. So take time to make sure you exercise and interrogate constructs at the deep structure level to make sure that what comes out and emerges from right? Those reflections are in fact wise counsel. To the sisters in the audience, I want to applaud the women. I want to thank you, first of all, for standing by your men. I want you to applaud yourselves, right, for the strength that you have provided to the families, to the men, to the children, and to the entire community. I want to express my thanks and gratitude for your support, for your encouragement, and engagement in this vital work. Now, I also want to give a shout out to the commitment and the partnership. And I want to acknowledge that while not physically present, right, the spirit of support and dedication remains strong in my heart and in the heart of this entire campus community. So let me close by reaffirming our commitment to providing the resources and sustaining the impactful partnership with KJLH radio station and its Empowerment Summit, right? And what it does in concert with your California State University, Dominguez Hills. So I encourage you to stay strong, encourage you to continue your vital work, and also I want to encourage you to express your ongoing support for the future programming of this partnership between KJLH and Cal State University, Dominguez Hills. This summit remains a prime source of inspiration and empowerment for our people. I'll close by reminding us. The Honorable Marcus Garvey shared with us that chance never satisfies the hope of a suffering people. And it is only through hard work, persistence, and self-reliance by which the oppressed ever realize the light of their own freedom. So, this summit is about self-determination. It is about defining the future for ourselves, but also not being so engaged and swamped and swallowed up by the muck and mire that society throws at you that you can't provide some transcendence and distance away from that to think clearly about what needs to change going forward to help us have more empowered lives. So I thank you for being a part of this year's summit. I offer best wishes for a very successful and impactful year ahead. And I want to support and appreciate kindness, joy, love, and happiness in our family at KJLH, who partner with your California State University, Dominguez Hills, to put on this summit. Welcome to the Toro Nation. I'll see you later.
Hi, I'm Senator Steve Bradford, and I want to welcome you to the 8th Annual Men's Empowerment Summit, hosted by KJLH Radio, and here on Cal State Dominguez Hills. And I want to give President Parham a special shout out for making this campus available on an annual basis, and Ron Turner at KJLH for his visionary leadership in putting this summit together. This year's theme, the Black Print, the Pillars of Manhood. And you're going to be discussing health, finance, relationships, and mentorships. And we can all use a great mentor. I know I had them in my life. You're going to have game-changing knowledge from impactful speakers that will be sharing their personal stories that will help you develop. You'll be meeting with like-minded individuals, and I'm pretty sure you're going to make some new relationships here at this conference. Be a part of this community-changing initiative. And I challenge you to leave with your personal Black Print for success. Enjoy the day. Tune in, turn off those cell phones, and be prepared to be informed, entertained, and changed.
What is happening, everybody? How you doing? Brothers and sisters, my name is Andre Russell from 102.3 KJLH. Thanks for rolling with a brother. We're so glad you're here this morning, and we have an incredible day planned for you today. And right now, an incredible human being coming to this microphone, ladies and gentlemen. I'd love to introduce to you Dr. J.P. Foster. He's the pastor of the Faithful Central Bible Church in Inglewood. Pastor Foster, Dr. J.P. Foster.
What's up? How you doing? Where my brothers at? Come on, come on. I want to share something. This is not a sermon, but I do want to give you an encouraging word. When you read Scripture, you read genres of Scripture, one of them are epistles. When you read the epistles, Paul often will give us an imperative. He'll say, I implore you, I beseech thee, or I urge you, brothers. So I came to encourage you that we may be diligent with our time today. We're here today at the Men's Empowerment Summit, but we've chosen a word, mobilize. You're already with me. We've chosen the word mobilize black men. Now, to mobilize something means this. To mobilize means to make something become organized, ready, and capable of immediate action. Let me say it one more time. We mobilized not to say we had hundreds of people in the room. We mobilized not to say, 1,000 of us came together and the result was we had a good time. When you mobilize, you come together because you're preparing to be able to take action when we go out there. So we've come to the Men's Summit that we could be empowered so that whatever we do in here leaves here and empowers our communities. Let me see if I can help you. Now, there was a time in history where we came here on slave ships. And in order to overcome slavery, we had to mobilize. I don't think you hear me. There was a time where we had to deal with segregation. And we as a people had to mobilize. There's a time we had to deal with Jim Crow. But in order to have success and thrive, we had to mobilize. There's a time that we had to deal with redlining. And what do? We had to mobilize. Every time the black community has faced hatred and racism and things that have impacted our community, we have come together to mobilize. We must mobilize in order for our communities to thrive. Now, when you think about where we are today as a people, we can't stop mobilizing. Our community needs black men. The system, since we've been brought over here, has done everything it could to minimize, ostracize, and impact black men in our communities, in companies, in our homes. We have to get to a place where we mobilize so that we as black men can impact our communities. We have to mobilize. We have to mobilize for our physical health. We have to mobilize for our mental health. We have to mobilize for our spiritual health. We have to mobilize for financial literacy. In order for our black businesses and families to thrive, we need to know financial literacy. In order to mobilize, we also have to stand together. Brothers, I'm talking to you right now. God's hand is on us. God has gifted us. God has blessed us. But so when we come together like this, we can have great impact in our community. So I implore you that as we come together for the Men's Empowerment Summit this year, that we leave here empowered, inspired. We go home. We go to work. We go into our communities. We show them what it means to be a father. We show them what it means to be engaged. We show them what it means that we have been empowered by God to change the narrative and stand up as black men. Black men, can you stand up one time? Stand up one time. We're mobilizing to take action. We are mobilizing to take action. In fact, why don't you help celebrate the black man standing next to you right now, because we will keep moving forward no matter what we face in our communities. Every black man standing up right now, we are standing up and we're going to fight and take action until we have everything that we deserve. Keep on clapping. God bless you. Tell your neighbor it's time to mobilize. Tell your other neighbor it's time to mobilize. Tell the person in front of you it's time to mobilize. We're going to tell the people that are hating on us and naysayers, stopping us in the streets, we're coming because we mobilized in here. Help me praise God one time.
Dr. J.P. Foster from Faithful Central. Now that y'all are fired up, we're ready to keep on mobilizing. How many of you guys have listened to KJLH for at least 20 years? All right, I don't need to go any further. The next brother I'm bringing out here to moderate this panel, Mobilizing Black Men, is a brother who you've heard for years on KJLH. How many of you guys listen to the front page? Carl Nelson is back, ladies and gentlemen, and he's going to moderate this next panel. We got an incredible lineup of panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to KJLH. My brother, Carl Nelson. Carl Nelson, ladies and gentlemen. Carl Nelson.
right. Grand Rising family. Thank you for showing up for the KJLH Men's Empowerment Summit 2024. We thank you for showing up. And this is a crucial time in our history as far as this country is concerned. We have elections coming up, and we know what's going on. So we have to come up with solutions. So this is what this is all about, solutions. Those of you who have listened to KJLH, you know this is what we're about. We're about solutions. We know what our problems are, So instead of just talking about our problems, let's figure it out. And we can. We're smart enough to do this. We don't need anybody's help. I see a scattering of people in here. So obviously when you leave here, please tell all the young people and all the other brothers who couldn't make it, this is what we have to do. Because this election that's coming up is too important. So many of the folks who here, are young people who are missing because they think this is how it was all the time. It was never like this, The Obama administration, the fact that Barack Obama won the office, they think this was. Well, we can remember, because I look at the crowd, I can see, you can remember, we never dreamt we'd have a black president. And let me speak to the brothers who have a problem voting for a black woman. Hey, check yourself. Check yourself. We're not going to tolerate you hating on our sisters. We've got a group of young brothers, and they're young, they're mostly young, and 5% of them are not supporting the vice president for whatever reason. Some say they can't identify with her. So one guy even told me he identified with Donald Trump. Well, Kamala Harris. How'd you get that? But these are these young brothers who are low information. And this is what we're here for today, to take that information back to these brothers. Those are the ones we need to get to the polls. And this is another thing too, family. We have to show up at the polls. Some of you can remember when Tom Bradley was running for governor. And Bradley was leading the polls. He was doing good. And the election day, Compton Congressman Merv Diner, we interviewed him on the radio. And after the interview, he called me back and he says, Tom's not going to win. I said, what do you mean? He said, Tom's not going to win. He didn't campaign in the black community in Richmond, Oakland, South Central. He said, and what happened? He said, but all these people said they're going to vote for him. He's running against George Duke Mason. You remember that? Comes out, those white folks on the west side of LA who supported Tom Bradley and their wives and girlfriends, when they got into the booth, they picked George Duke Mason. He lost by a sliver. Some of you can remember that. We just don't want that to happen again. That's what political scientists call now the Bradley effect. They tell you they're going to support you, but once they get in the voting booth, they change their minds. So we don't want the Bradley effect taking place nationwide. We've experienced it here in California with Tom Bradley. So this is what we are working against. So we have to convince our folks not only just to register to vote, go to the polls and actually vote. And vote like your life depends on it, because it's true. Having said that, can you bring our panel in? Let's bring our panel, folks. We got some great guests for you this morning, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. All right. And this is what I'm going to do. Instead of me telling you about these brothers, I'm going to let them introduce themselves. They know themselves better than I do. So we'll start with Kevin Nash. Kevin, he's been out here working. We're going to give him double duty. Kevin.
Well, good morning, everybody. You guys know me. I do the evening show at KJLH. I know for a fact that KJLH is the best station on the planet. Am I lying? You guys have supported my music. Also, I run a broadcasting program called Accelerated Radio School of Broadcasting, where I teach kids the ins and outs of radio for the past 14 years. I got all of Inglewood Unified Schools. So if you're in Inglewood, the Accelerated Radio is there, and we got about 4 LA Unified Schools as well, where I've built radio stations on these school campuses from elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools to teach them the ins and outs of radio. And I didn't just hire teachers to do it. I'm actually on the campus teaching the program myself, along with others as well. So
all right, thanks,
that's what I do during the daytime.
and listen to him every night, by the way. All right?
Good morning, everyone. How you doing? My name is Danny Bakewell Jr. I am the president and executive editor of the Los Angeles Sentinel. I'm also the president of a family real estate company, the Bakewell Company. So great to be here. Good to see all these black men and women out this morning. Thank you, KJLH.
All right, thank you, Danny. Give me his mic.
I'm John Paul Foster, senior pastor of Faithful Central Bible Church. I'm also a professor at Biola University, serving at Talbot School of Theology. So I'm a pastor and professor and doing everything I can to impact our community here in Inglewood and Los Angeles.
Grand Rising family, my name is Eric Nall, and also known as Coach E. I'm the owner of a health and wellness business, Ultimate Transformations Training, and also the founder of a nonprofit called Ultimate Student Athlete, where we assist young people on their journey to their academic excellence. This past year, we celebrated over 7,000 kids to college, and since our inception. So, thank you, family.
All right. And we got one more guest for you as well. You may be able to recognize him when he comes out. I'll let him introduce himself. Can we bring in our special guest, Andre? He wants to wait a minute. Okay, we need dramatic effect here. All right. This is our special guest who's decided to join our panel at the last minute. So we want you to...
Hello, everybody. This is, as you know, a day.
My brothers, you came. We said we were going to do it for you, and you are here. Enjoy your day. It's all about you today. Black excellence. We love it. We love you. We love you.
Love you all, too. So I did a spot a couple of months ago, and I said this is one of the most important elections in our time. And I hope that you understand why I said that. As personally, Stephen Morris, owner of KJLH, but as well, with the gift that God has given me of becoming Stevie Wonder, I see the world and I see the confusion, and I see how much of it is something that has been put in place to create that confusion, misinformation, lies, places of distraction that are meant to stop us from moving forward. Clearly, I've said this and I'll say it again. Not only is it our commitment, but our responsibility as being the lineage of the original people of the planet to take advantage of moving this world forward. And again, when you hear people wasting your precious time talking about, well, what color is she really, and all kind of stupidity, it is completely unacceptable. And for those who listen to that and will entertain the idea of that person being head of this nation again is completely absurd. Listen, I've said many times when they talked about taxes being higher and all that, listen, I pay a lot of taxes, believe it. But my position is this: if my paying the taxes that I have to pay is going to make it better for those who are not able to live and survive, then I'm committed to that. Because I believe that our Most High God gave me the gift of all this to not just use it and take it and just value it for myself. I believe that the gift was given to me so that I can really lift everyone up higher. And this is why when I wrote the song, the beginnings of it some 5 years ago, and I met the person who co-wrote the song with me, Molly Bonner, and I decided to make that the first song from my Through the Eyes of Wonder project, Can We Fix Our Nation's Broken Heart? I know that we can, but it does take we, as the original men of this planet, to not just talk about it and complain about it and argue about it, but really doing something about it. Because when you say, you know, my vote doesn't matter, it's really saying to me that you feel like you don't matter. And how can you give that curse to God when you were created perfect? How can you even do that? So I hope that you will understand the responsibility that you have and that we have as moving the generations forward, your children and their children and on and on and on. We have to do what's not only right for this nation, but for the world. And you've got to be committed to that. And you see anything other than that, you're talking a bunch of bullish. Love you. Thank you.
Thank you, Stevie.
Stay with us.
All right. And this is one of the reasons why we're here, family, because of Stevie. You know, we could play music all day long on KJLH. But when Stevie bought the station, he wanted us to be representative of the community, the black community. And that's why we do the things we do. It's part of our DNA. Those of you who know that and listen to KJLH or you listen to other stations in Southern California, you know there's one station that's got your back all the way, every day, 24/7, never leave. It's KJLH. Because as the slogan it says, we are you. And this is what Steve came up with when he purchased the station. The we are you. And that's what it's all about, basically, because all the stations can play all the same music. You know, we all can play Prince. We can play, every station can play, in the world can play Prince. But what do we do when the music stops? And this is where we come in. And our people are still suffering and still trying to find their way. We have to be the compass, the social compass, to share our people, to show what's going on. And that's why we're here this morning, too, to address, because this is going to be very, very crucial. This election is tight. It's real tight. And they're going to try and steal it. You know, and if it's tight, they're going to say we stole it. So they're going to try and do everything. The only way we can really win and convince them is it's got to be overwhelming. And this is where every one of us, not just speaking to you, myself included, we have to do our work. So let's get it started. Kevin, you're first because you're on the first on the dock right there. What do you think about when you think about mobilization of black men? What do you think about?
You know, I got to speak truth, man. I mean, we have very little time to do so, and I know that we're in a political season and this and that, man. I can't help. I've tested something and tried something that I know that is true, that is factual. I gotta say it, man. I think we're lacking just the fear of God, believe it or not. You know, I've tried some things, as of late, begin to study scripture and this and that, and begin to apply those principles of the Most High God in my life. And I'm telling you, man, it has done wonders for the past maybe 3 years or so.
Yeah.
So I got like a testimony, man, where God has come through when I didn't think nothing would come through, anybody would come through, and they didn't, right? So I began to follow his laws and decrees and the principles of the Most High God. And guess what? Doors have been opening, I've set aside just my religious ideas and thoughts, the things I've learned over the years. I'm from the South, right? I put those on pause, man, and begin to start, studying scripture for myself and applying it. And I'm telling you, and I think this is what we're lacking today, man, is just the fear. We fear Project 2025 more than we fear God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I know this may sound politically incorrect in this political season that we're in right now, but that's where I stand.
Well, thank you, Kevin. And and what Kevin just said, and he gets to say this on the radio in different ways. And those who know, they can pick up on the cues, correct? Do you understand what he's saying? Because
Oh, yeah. I know what you said.
Right. And this is what Kevin does. So when you hear Kevin on the radio each night, just listen closely. He's speaking to each and every single one of you when he talks. And this is what he's trying to tell us this morning. Thanks, Kevin. Danny Jr.
So, when we talk about mobilization, I mean, we, as was said earlier today, that we have to mobilize. We have to be united. And this system is really so set up to divide us, particularly as black men, right? Incarceration, all the way back to slavery when they would break up our families and sell us off and all of those things. The system has always been designed to weaken us and certainly not to empower us. And so we've got to be stronger than that. We've got to be smarter than that. Coming here today are those things that make us smarter, that make us stronger. But there's a difference between a dream, excuse me. We can dream to make a difference, but there's a difference when we have a goal to make a difference. A dream is something that just comes to you. You lay down in the bed and, you wake up in the morning, you're like, wow, guess what I dreamt? But when we set a goal, when we say we're going to come together as black men to make a difference in our community, as we talk about mobilization, that takes a plan. That takes a strategy. A lot of you have probably heard the words, have a voting plan, right? We all dream that the next president of the United States, or many of us dream, some of us might not, but many of us dream that the next president of the United States is going to be a black woman. But if our goal is to make a black woman the next president of the United States, then we have to plan for it. We have to make sure not only did I register to vote, but I called 5 of my friends and said, hey, did you register to vote? Did your son or did your daughter register to vote? And then we go to their house when the ballots come out, because the days of going to the poll and checking the box really don't exist no more since COVID. So I got to go to your house and say, Kevin, did you fill out your ballot? Well, let's fill it out, man. Did you put a stamp on it, or if it don't need a stamp, when you gonna take it to the post office? That's a plan. That's a goal to achieve. So when we talk about mobilization, let's make it a goal. Let's have a plan. Let's have a goal and a plan to make our community stronger. So thank y'all all for coming out today.
All right, thanks, Danny. All right, Bishop.
When I think of mobilization, I take a holistic approach. And the reason I do that is because there are so many things that have plagued the black community and specifically black men. When you look at the history of black people, especially black men in the United States of America, over and over we have been devalued. There has been a plan that displays the devaluation of black people. And so over time we've always had to mobilize to address the different issues that our community is facing. Some within the community, but also that we face that's systemic. And if we don't mobilize, mobilization is not just to say, hey, great, we had 1,000 people in here. That doesn't mean anything if nothing was accomplished. What you do with information is what's powerful. It's not just hearing information. So mobilization is, how do I, as a black man in my community, go back and empower other black men to address the issues that we know we're facing? And so mobilization could be layered in different ways. So we have black men we have physical issues that we don't address. Right. Or when we do try to address them, it's too late. We have traumas and mental illness, mental issues that we've experienced because we're just black men. Just because we're black men. The weight of what it means to be a black man in America can be depressing. The trauma you carry different places you go to work, you got a code switch. I mean, there's so many different things that we experience every day that mobilization means, okay, if I know that these are issues I'm facing in my community, I have to address them. Fatherhood, right? Whether or not the relationship worked out or not, can I still be a present father? Those things make a huge difference. So how do I, education. Now, they didn't even want black men to read books. They were afraid of black men having knowledge. So education is huge. Financial literacy. We spend more, like black wealth is decreasing, but black spending is increasing.
Explain that one, right.
So we got to mobilize so we can have a plan to do something about that. And then when your black brother or sister has a business, you don't even go. I'm about to get in trouble. But I'm going to say it anyway. There are you look at your brother and say, hey, man, I love you, brother, but do we? But do we really? Because if you love, like you said, like his example of voting, right? Have you voted? When's the last time you got a physical?
Yeah, we're going to get into that, too.
Right? You having stomach issues. You got some stuff going on. When's the last time have you got it checked out? When you see consistent behavior in one of your brothers, it's like, hey, man, I noticed there's some anger or whatever it may be, and it could be valid, right? There's nothing wrong with being angry. I get angry, but how does it manifest itself? But we don't talk. We say, hey, brother, I love you. But we watch people make some of the worst decisions that cause their demise, but we look them in the eye and say, brother, I love you. Keep the dap, keep the high five, keep me accountable. So mobilization is when we gather together like this and we actually get good information on how it is we can change the circumstance that we're in and then go do something about it. They're saying each one reach one, or each one teach one. Are we doing that?
Yeah.
But there was a time, I'm gonna end with this. There was a time in the neighborhoods where anybody could whoop you. Anybody. I'm not advocating for child abuse. But there was a time where it was like, hey, what are you doing? Like your neighbors would hold you accountable. Now, this is what we do. Either we don't say anything and we know that kid is in trouble, or we do this.
Yep.
Post it on social media for likes and clout chasing. That doesn't even make any sense. There's a time where we actually cared enough not to let our brothers and sisters get into trouble. We would engage in them. Now we just sit back and watch their own demise. Mobilization means if I'm a black man in my community, I have to do something about what I see, and I have to empower you to be everything that God called you to be.
Thanks, Bishop. Before we move on, though, hold on a second, Coach. I just want to add something that Danny Jr. said about registration. Check your registration, because they've been kicking people off the registration polls. People thought they were registered to vote, and this happened recently, because the polls are open in some parts of the country already. And people are going up and think they're registered to vote, and hey, you're not on the list. So please, just confirm it, do a second check, and tell everybody you know. And you got family all over across this country, tell them the same thing too. These are the tricks they're trying to play on us. But Coach, mobilization.
So when I'm going to start from a different perspective. I want us to start this whole summit from this perspective, and I want my brothers to really absorb and understand this. There are two definitive things that we must know. That God that lives in us empowers us to create as God. So that's a powerful thing to understand, that we have God in us. Now, what that brings to us is that when we understand that we have God in us, that means there is nothing outside of ourselves to seek. Only the divine to accept. So if you accept who you are, you now start harnessing your power. our power. All the systems that we participate in, hey family, we participate in those systems freely. So many times we give our power up. They don't come take it from us. So if we learn to take on and understand the power that we have individually, then start basing our choices on those powers. He mentioning walking up to a brother and saying, "What's up?" to a brother. You know, acknowledging a brother is a powerful thing. You know what? Because I have encountered so many of our young people where you greet them, and if you greet them, before you know it, they'll start sharing with you the pain they're in. Now, if we don't greet each other, we won't have that opportunity to have that young brother share his pain. Here's the thing with that. But if we realize we have the power within us, the divine in us, we can impart that divine wisdom upon that young person, and hopefully that young person will leave there more empowered to live that God in them. That doesn't happen unless we start mobilizing our thinking. We have to think in a congruent way. Are we collectively thinking about the powers within our community? This is how we're going to do it. This is the formula. That optimal health that he's talking about, that means that we have an opportunity every day to choose how we think, what we do, what we believe in, how we feel about it. And the last thing is take those 4 things and then act on the purpose that God has given us. So when we all are here to do something, come together, acting on our purpose, we can easily find a collective power that we can then not only put the people that we want in these political spaces, but we control the environments that our children and our young, beautiful people are around. So that's what I feel when I hear mobilization.
All right. One of the issues that is showing up in these polls so far, you know, people can talk about the polls, but it's shown, and apparently there is some reality to it. Young black men are not going to the polls enough. Right. They just somehow dislike the vice president for some reason or the other. I don't get it. And some of them are openly supporting Donald Trump. We have to reach these young men. There's not a lot, there's 5%, there's 20% that are supporting Donald Trump, but a key 5% cell of young black men, and they're noisy. That's the point. So they make it sound like it's a whole bunch of them, but it's just 5%, but they're very noisy, very vocal about their disdain for the vice president. I'm going to start with Kevin, because Kevin's on the radio, and many of them don't listen to radio. We know that. We'll accept that. All right. So, Kevin, how do we reach these young brothers?
Carl, like I said, I didn't know that this thing is going to be about polls and voting. We're talking about mobilizing black men. Yeah. Is it mobilizing black men to vote? Is this what this is it about?
Yeah, this particular issue. Yeah, right.
Right. Listen, you know my stance on everything too. Mm-hmm. My stance when it comes to who we serve and who our Savior is and where our ultimate power comes from, right? Now, no matter who's in office, we're still going to have to navigate through their policies and plans. And I'm saying if we know that we're people outside of that, mm-hmm. right? Like when Stevie Wonder, came up and spoke, right? Now, if Trump wins, right, you think that's going to affect his bottom line?
No.
If Kamala wins, is that going to affect? So we major and we put so much emphasis on things, and to me, I'm just a little bit above that.
I understand that.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to put myself in position. I'm trying to put myself in position where no matter who wins, you get what I'm saying? Yeah. That I don't have to live a life of doom, like, oh, we're doomed because Donald Trump is in office.
Kevin and I agree and we disagree.
Stevie and I, we butt heads on
So
this,
let me
on
say
these
why
topics all the
I
time.
agree with him because we serve a mighty God every single day, not just during this particular time, but all the time. Now, see, he knew I was going to come.
Oh, I do. Listen, I know exactly what to say to bring him out.
No,
Here
but,
we go.
So here's my point. Honestly,
Hey, hold on, Steve. So welcome to our phone conversations. Y'all ready?
Really, we can talk about a few things. We talk about bringing us together, and we know that God is good in every single season. So the issue is never about Him and our commitment. But we're in a time where people have used the good word for their bad purpose. So I don't want us to misconstrue where we are and what we need to do. Because how and what we say will confuse the young people as to what to do. I believe that, and I know I wasn't going to be on your panel, but I believe that what you need to do is hear from the young people that are in the audience. Because the reality is, these are the ones who want to know exactly what to do. And they're the ones that are wanting you to give them a sense of direction based on what you've gone through in your life. So this is why I said in the beginning when Kevin, you got me out here, that we have to look at where we are. I mean, spiritually, we know where we need to be and where we should be. And to be completely all the way real, we've got some things here in the state that we need to deal with. So the involvement of people in the national elections, for sure, is very important. But locally, people need to know what's up and what they need to do. But just within our communities, we need to hold our family, we as parents, responsible for what our children do. Because then it goes back to how we raise our children and how we give respect or get respect from them, which means we have to allow them to understand the importance of respecting the God that we all serve. But as well, as we all know, as parents, when our children are first born, we are the closest thing to God that they know. So it does at home. And so I do believe that without question, we know that relationship. Like you told me, you said, and as I put on my project, it's not about the religion, it's about the relationship. And so we have to respect whatever one's belief, as long as they believe in God and are living that in their everyday life. Now, as to the issues that people have about Kamala and some not knowing how to say her name and some making fun, that's all, again, distraction. The focus has to be that we make sure that we elect a president that will not allow Project 2025 to come into effect. And if you don't know what that is, you need to read about it, and you need to tell your children about it, And if your friends don't know, read and tell them about it and just go on and on and on. Understand what we're fighting for. We're fighting for moving forward into tomorrow, or being pushed back into just a little after slavery started. That's what we're talking about. And so those who want to do that will use God, they will use anything to give a justification. But the reality is this: we are all individually accountable to God for what we do and how we do what we do. But we know as a unit, we have to respect, love each other, and want the best for each other. The rest as to how you vote and what you vote for, you do what you need to do and you vote for those things that are going to be best for you as a culture, but for all cultures and all people. But it means that we have to begin by saying, I believe. When I say by saying, I'm believing that we have to know that God is with us for as long as we are for the good of all. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm rolling out. I'm going to say I'm on this piano.
Right there. You see, and Stevie and I get into these conversations, right? And basically,
off me, Kevin, off
listen. Basically, all I'm saying is this: no matter how hard the wind blows, right? See, we build a house and we make sure that house has a solid foundation, right? And we don't have roofs on house, just in case it rains, right? Just in case. So I'm saying is that we have to make sure that our foundation is solid, no matter how hard or which way the wind blows.
You don't have to touch my arm to give
So we have to be prepared. So when we're talking about,
are you nervous?
Mobilizing black men,
Are you nervous?
Am I nervous?
I think you're nervous. Grab my arm.
I was like, hey man, you lifting them weights like that, man. Okay, he's strong. You're real strong.
See, he's gonna keep on gonna say that thing I told him I was gonna say if he keeps on.
Not right now. Save it for the end.
All right, let's go.
And that's the point I'm trying to make too, that no matter who wins, right? No matter who wins, we have to make sure that we're okay, right? No matter what. Because we don't want to get to the point that we have something in our DNA that causes us to become dependent on things, right? And I'm saying that I don't want to be dependent on the government. As a matter of fact, I don't care what plan. I don't want them to have a plan for me. Understand what I'm saying? I don't want a plan.
You don't have to. Look,
What do you got to say about that?
Steve? We're not talking about ribbons in the sky and the moon. Okay.
But we are talking about you and I.
No.
We talking about you and I.
Oh, okay. Okay, so.
Go ahead, Steve.
What do you say?
No, go ahead, Steve.
Drugs, $35.
So, listen, Kevin, we can go on and on and on, and we can go deeper and deeper and all that. But my point is this. We know, as I said before, God is with us no matter what happens. We're talking about something completely different, which is being responsible for what's going to happen in where you are. The reason that I made a decision that I was going to have dual citizenship in Ghana was not because I wanted to leave America. But if it gets stupid,
You gonna leave us, Stevie?
But if it gets stupid, I will be out. But I will never leave you. But I'm saying to you, the way we make sure that it isn't going to get stupid is by being aware of what the votes are and the positions that are being taken and where it's going to leave us culturally and as a united people. Because we cannot say in one breath, we're going to be committed to fighting in the wars or whatever happens, but when it gets down to things that we need every single day, say, I don't know what you're talking about. So I just feel, listen. There you go. So that's why I was saying that I think it would be great to have some of the people in the audience, respectfully, because we don't want y'all to come up here and, be going on and on and on. That we really get something accomplished here today, that we come to a conclusion. My words to you, as I said before, make sure that you register, make sure that you vote, make sure that your voice is heard, because you are living here in this nation. You are living here in this state. And it is your responsibility to do what you believe is going to be best for your family and for the future generation. Boom.
Thank you, Stevie. Thank you. All right. All right. See what you started, Kevin.
I knew he was listening. I knew it.
And see what you started. But Danny Jr., let's talk to you, because you've got the Sentinel as well. And these young people, let's be real now. This is one of the things we want to do with this conversation. And we're going to get the young people, too. We're going to ask you, you're going to get a chance to ask the panel questions.
Well, let me start out with a couple of things. I see one, but are there any father and son combinations in here today? There's one, there's two, there's three right there, four, all the top. So do me a favor, those fathers and sons, stand up, please. Just stand up. Let's give them a hand.
That's awesome.
Thank you guys for doing that, because I think the answer to that when we talk about this is that this is what it takes. It takes each one to teach one. It is really about, for these young people, it is about the person, the father who is leading his family and leading to show them what to do. So the importance of voting. I mean, I have 4 kids. I have 3 daughters, 1 son, and they're all well over 25 at this point. But they learned, because I thought it was important back in the day to take them to the polls every time I went to vote at a young age. And people say, well, why do you go to the polls? You could vote absentee. This is before COVID. And I said, because I want my children to understand the importance of voting, that it is a right and a privilege. And I want you guys to think about this. First off, as it relates to young people, a lot of our young people, particularly those that don't have this parental leadership that we're talking about, they're what they call a microwave society. They want it now. They want it instantly. So they don't understand that voting and who they vote for really affects not only their lives today, but it's going to affect their lives far into the future and generations of lives. That's the first part. They don't understand that. They just, hey, I put it on Instagram, then I get an instant response.
Right.
Right? Well, voting is not Instagram, But more importantly, how many of you guys have heard people say, this is the election of a lifetime. This is going to set our future.
Right.
Now, I want y'all to just think about this. Really, there's been a lot of things that have happened in the last, if you think about it, 8 years ago, we said Donald Trump could never get elected, right? Most of my generation may have thought Roe versus Wade would never go away. But more importantly, we never thought that people were going to lose their right to vote. We were entitled to that. The Constitution says that. So think about this. We are one administration in one election what if one day you wake up and you say, guess what? Donald Trump is thinking about putting slavery back, taking slavery back to Congress. That sounds crazy. But there's a lot of things that we didn't believe that sounded crazy that the next thing you know. Now we could all say, I know what we'd all say as black men. F that. Ain't nobody making me a slave, ain't nobody making my family a slave. And I understand, and we would revolt and take arms and do all of the things that we got to do. But why put that kind of power in place to have to fight that battle? This is an administration. This is a man in an administration and the Republican Party who has shown year after year, they don't give a damn about us. Okay? They don't give a damn about the plight of you, your family, your children. They don't care. So you can talk all along about this and that. I've heard brothers say, well, I can't really relate to Kamala Harris. But you can relate to Donald Trump? Really? Now, I know this is not all about political, but I want y'all to just think about the simple fact that this is not about Kamala Harris. This is about us, black men, black women, black family, black community. This is about us, right? And our future and future generations. So when you sit around and say, they just don't understand it, we got to make them understand. We got to teach them. We got to reach them. We got to preach to them. We got to go and set a foundation, as Kevin said, that voting is part of the foundation, right? Voting is part of the foundation. You cannot dictate what your future is going to be if you're not participating in setting forth the future.
All right. Thanks, Danny. Pastor?
So, a few things I want to share. So, I think I don't want to rush past what Kevin said, and I definitely don't want to dismiss what Stevie said. And then I'm going to share some practical ways to do it. So the original question is, how do we get these young people to vote? And I want to highlight something that you said. Yeah. We're amplifying something that's 5%.
Right.
And so I'm not dismissing the 5%, but we're amplifying something that's very small. Yeah. Kevin said, and we acted like we didn't hear him, that no matter who wins, God's still on the throne.
Correct.
I'm just need to hear it. Yeah, but I heard my brother scream up there, and he was right. I don't want you to be so spiritually minded that you know earthly good. Don't miss that, because that's where what Stevie said comes in, to an extent. Now listen to this. He's on the throne. We've been through a term with Donald Trump before. We've been through a term with him. We've been through multiple terms with a black president. We went through ups and downs. God still reigns. We're still here. Right? Second thing is, God's given us all free will. So we, as Americans, as citizens, we all have the legal right to vote. We do have that. So we have free will. We have the ability to make choices. Now, I'm not going to be ridiculous to think that everyone at my church thinks the same theologically or politically. So you ask, as me in my leadership position, what do I do about that, right? So I have people who believe differently, think differently every single Sunday morning. It's my job then, we talk about this 5%, to make a space available to them to be educated on what it means to vote. So, and like you mentioned, Kevin, I didn't know we were talking about voting, coming together to vote, but there's an answer for that. My church, our church, is making a space for voters' education. So you educate these whoever wants to come in what it means to vote, the impact of the vote, what are we actually voting for? Someone who can walk through the local issues we have in our state and nationally. Some people they just don't know what to do. The Bible says, "My people perish for a lack of knowledge." So if they don't know, They don't know how to make a choice. So it's my job as a leader to make a space for them to be educated so they know what decision. Now, I can't tell them what to do, and I wouldn't do that. But I can give them a space where they can understand what's on the ballot, understand what they're voting for, what measures and all those things, and then they, because they have free will, can make a choice. My comfort is in the fact that my faith isn't in the president. Like my confidence, I'm gonna make a choice like everybody else is. But that's not, I didn't build my foundation on any of the presidents of the United States of America. I've built my foundation on Christ. I've built my foundation on God. So every storm that I faced in my life, my house is still standing because it's on a solid foundation. And that's what Kevin is trying to say, but we're dismissed. He's gonna vote. He's gonna vote, but you know what? His house is standing on a rock. So no matter what happens, he will do it. So I don't want to amplify 5% because I'm a professor, and if you get 95%, you still got an A.
Amen.
You still got an A. But for the 5%, we have to be delicate in how we address them. We don't want to diminish them. We don't want to belittle them. We don't want to disrespect them.
Right.
What we need to do is create a healthy space for them to be educated so that they can make the best decision. And while they're making their decision, I'm going to make mine, y'all going to make yours, and then we're going to trust God throughout the whole process. Let me just say this last thing, because what's interesting is you can't believe in the sovereignty of God and then be scared when it's time for an election.
There you go. There you go.
You can't.
Right.
Either he's sovereign or he's not.
Exactly.
But you can't be scared to go to sleep. And what's going to happen at the polls? God's going to do what he's going to do, and he's going to keep me anyway.
Right.
So I just want to leave that there. So if you know some young people that are kind of wondering what to do, we're going to have one at my church where it's voters education. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for, what to do. You know, everybody has a different position, but I promise you will know at least how to make an informed decision. And from there, we're going to trust God.
All right.
Hey, listen, Pastor JP articulated everything I was trying to say before the man. So, Steve, I know you back there listening, man. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Right. And Pastor, we get it. We get it. We understand. And we're with you with that. You know, let me just, before we bring on the coach, let me just add this too.
I do want to say this though. I do want to say, come on. I'm gonna say hear what he's saying. We're not gonna shush him because we want the people online to hear what he said.
Okay.
He said, God is on the throne.
You're right.
God is the one. God is the one we're trusting. God's the one my hope's in. God's the one my faith is in. That makes a difference. In fact, I don't know why we're going this direction we are. Do you realize? No, I need you to hear this.
But there's a reason why.
I need you to hear this.
But go ahead.
I need you to hear this. So we're here. You missed what I said. We're here.
Yeah.
They had it was a pamphlet. It wasn't a Bible. Right. The slave Bible is like a church fan. That there was a Bible that's called the Negro Slave Bible that they deliberately took scriptures out of to enslave black people. They manipulated scripture in order to keep us in bondage, to justify it. But pay attention. The difference maker is when people like Nat Turner got a hold of the whole Bible.
Yeah.
Saw the essence, the character, the nature of God, the nature of God, the character of God that demanded freedom for people who are in bondage. That their faith in the God they read in the Bible caused movements that have freed black people and helped us be where we are today. So I don't want to dismiss, like, men and women have trusted in God and moved black people forward for decades after decades after decades. So I'm going to do what I've seen them do, and I'm going to trust in the same God that has liberated us as a people to keep on moving us forward in history.
Gotcha. Thank you, Bishop. Thank you for the clarification. Go ahead, Coach.
So I'm gonna piggyback off all the entire panel for this one reason. Like, we're talking about education. That's really what we're talking about. But real education.
Say it again. He said real education.
Real education. We're not talking about the education they feed us to stay in alignment with becoming the entity that has supplied our energy for this country to be as great as it is. But the knowledge that previous to these 2,000 years, 6,000 years, we were such powerful people. look, our history tells us a lot more. And if we don't learn our history, we can't get our young people to be involved with anything. They don't know the truth. We haven't taught them the truths. I believe someone mentioned earlier about us being brought over, on slave ships. But you know what? There was a whole bunch of us already here. You name any culture in the world and you follow its origin and you're going to find black. Now, if we taught the point I want to make is this before I go into that, is that our young people don't ever do what we tell them. They do what they see. We have to be the example. We have to stand on some form of integrity. We have to stand on some form of self-knowledge and seeking self-knowledge. Because if they come to us and we don't have an answer, we have to be honest enough to go, let's go find this answer together. Because we don't know. Right? But that's a powerful thing. Look, they're watching. They're always watching. And if we are sitting on the fence, or if we're demonstrating fear and not faith, like we can come in here and get fired up over the words and do nothing. Look, I was born in Fairfield, Alabama. You hear me? Inslee. Look, my grandfather told me the stories of the Klan chasing my grandmother to the front door and he coming through the door with the shotgun. My father told me about Bull Connor putting the dogs on them. But guess what he told me also? He told me that all them young brothers wrapped their jackets around their arms and they stabbed and killed all those dogs. That's why they brought the hoses. What that story told me is that we didn't lay down. We fought. We boycotted the buses. Over a year, we didn't ride the bus. That means we picked up Miss Granny. We took care of each other. But that was us giving knowledge to each other, having a definitive plan, and working that plan. Look, because everybody, I want us to really understand, I do want the right person as president, but this is always about finances. It's always about money. And we have to still stay aware of where they're stealing our energy and building their wealth. We have an opportunity to take our $2.1 trillion that we spend every year and put it back into our own communities, into our own businesses, and guess what that will do? That makes us politically more powerful. So education in all facets for our young people will help us become better voters if we're going to participate, but also better in our faith with the divine. We got to give examples of us having faith and moving on it and acting on it. Because if we don't have that, the young person still says, well, Daddy, you sat here and watched it happen. Let's show them how to do it. Let's get out and mobilize. Let's not be afraid of the young man in the store and have a conversation and talk to him. That's right. Just because he got the tattoos, don't make you afraid of him. All right? Let's talk to them. Let's find out what's on their mind, because guess what, everybody? Y'all want to hear something crazy that I always think about this? Look, we've been thinking this way for a long time, and we right here. Maybe one of them brothers with them tattoos got the answer.
Thanks, Coach. Here's what I want to do now, because we're racing the clock. We want to give you a chance to ask our panel questions. This program is interactive. Is there a microphone somewhere? Our panel? Where is it? Kevin, you want to do that for me? Just come on down on here if you got a question for the panel, and we'll get as many as possible, because, I don't have all the questions. I know you guys got questions. That's why you're here. So you make your questions real short. And panelists, if you can respond real short too, so we can hear from as many of our people as we can. So when you start, just give your name and your city, and then and pose the question. If you want to pose it to a particular person, do that. I start.
Use his mic. Here we go.
Check, check.
Yes, mine's not a question. My name is Helen Henson, and I'd like to hear from the young people. I want to hear from the young people. I want to hear what they don't know, what they need us, the examples they need us to be. I want to hear from the young people.
All right, young people here in the audience, come on down. Sister says she wants to hear from you. We want to hear from you as well. So the young brothers and sisters, come on down. All right, go ahead, sister.
Hello, my name is Michelle Frazier, and voting is powerful. Right now, I'm running downtown to Superior Court. Nobody looks like me.
So I'm taking the good Lord with me while I'm down there. And this is why the vote is powerful.
Hey, Carl.
Check, check. Two. Check, check, check.
Can we get questions?
Check, check. 1, 2, check. There we go.
And do us a favor again. Put in a question for them so they can respond. Because I know you guys want to say something, but put in a question for them so we can take advantage of their expertise right here. Go ahead, sis.
I heard the reparation bill was canceled. We need reparations, not corporations. We are institutions. They are corporations.
All right, there's a question there, but the question about reparations. Anybody want to respond to that?
They're having
Check.
a session on political stuff.
Okay,
There's a
sister,
whole
they're
session.
having a session on political issues coming up, so they're going to tackle the reparations as well.
Check. 1, 2, check.
All right, who's
Check 1, check.
is that
Check,
Mike?
check.
Mike, okay. We may have to switch it over there because we're getting the feedback from this speaker right
check,
here.
Check, check.
It's working?
Cool, cool.
Yeah, baby, yeah.
Let me come.
From,
Back up.
all right.
It's called feedback, not reverb. Feedback.
Go ahead, sister. Your name and your question, real quick.
Hey,
Come
good
on.
evening. Good morning, my brothers and sisters. I'm a community leader in Linwood, California, and I want to know how can I get these black brothers to come to my community so we can help these young black men and women in our community to come together. My question is, what is it going to take for us, as me being a black woman, as a community leader, what is it going to take for me to get the black men? I live in Linwood, California. How am I going to get the black men? I could do a summer like this because I'm a leader, but how am I going to draw the black men into this summit?
Okay, anybody want to respond to that?
Well, I'll just say this.
Go ahead, Pastor.
The greatest way to do that is to build relationships. So I would look at some of the businesses, organizations, some of the black churches, have a meeting with them, share on your heart what it is you're trying to do, and build relationships. Everything that I've been able to accomplish has been by building relationships. So if you can do that, show them the reason why you want them to meet, your goal, the purpose, and what you're trying to do, and the impact you want to have with the younger people, then you can form some type of group of people to have some type of meeting and have impact. But it's relational. It has to be relational.
And I also have a group called Magnificent Men. And literally all you got to do is call us, and we show up in force.
See, that's an organization. There you go.
All right, I'm going to pass it to a young guy.
Who's next?
Come down here real quick for me, man. I think someone also brought up the importance of, creating a plan as well. So if you plan it out, we got you.
All right, brother, go ahead. Your name and where your city.
All right, can y'all hear me?
Yes,
Can y'all hear me?
yes.
My name's Chase Hamilton. I just turned 25 yesterday.
Happy birthday, brother.
Happy birthday, brother.
And so my question for the panelists is, what is your end goal here? Because for me personally, the end goal for all of us, for black men, for black people, for the society, is true equity. It's for all of us to stand equal. That's not a flip of this system in which black men are situated in the position that the white man is in right now, and we exploit and have other people on a totem below us, but it's one where black men, black women, all other folks can stand equal shoulder to shoulder. That looks like abolishing this capitalist system that exploits us, that takes black men, that puts us in prison, that takes our labor. When you say that we have to have God first, it's gonna be Trump or Kamala, but our faith is gonna bring us through all of it, I sit and think, one of these candidates is completely endorsed and supported by white supremacy. When all white supremacists around the country support one person, that says something about them.
Right.
So
Put in a question for him, because we got a bunch of folks.
So my question is, in this system where one candidate seems determined to put us back in chains, what is the end goal here for you guys? How do we fight against
We
that?
got it. Anybody want to respond to that?
I think the end goal is exactly what we're doing here. We're coming together to discuss and educate ourselves. It really ultimately formulate a plan. Now, we're not going to create a plan that's going to fix our entire community in the next 8 hours, but coming together and having those conversations about equity, about wealth building, about all of the things about entrepreneurship and empowering black business. All of those are meetings and conferences and discussions that we have to have.
Yeah, let me add this too, because this is something else I think we missed. Kevin said our forum was communal. In other words, our panel was to address specifically the community, not political, because we have a whole session that's going to do that, right? Ours was to address communal issues that we're facing. How can we help our black men in areas of education, workforce, health, and those types of initiatives? So I'm gonna give you an example. Our church in particular, we just had over close to 1,000 people in a wealth summit, finding out every level they're in financially so that we can help them get to the next level, help them get out of debt, help them build wealth, help them with their businesses, help show them how they can get money, get funding. We just did that for 8 hours last Saturday. That's one example. Another example is education. That was financial literacy. Education. We have committed to helping our young black men and women and church members go to college. We have given over $200,000 in the summertime to help our kids go to college. That's a way that's tangible. That's practical. That's practical. That's not like we're going to trust God and we're going to do some work. We're going to trust God to give us the resources, but we're coming together as a church to say, how can we empower our kids? We just had in the summer a marriage conference. Why? Because if our families can stay tight in our communities are better. So we're not just talking like, oh, to get God like some mystical thing. We're trusting Him and we're doing the work so that our families in our community can be educated, they can be financially stable, and our family, the nucleus of our families, can stick together and avoid trauma and drama that we see every day played out in the classrooms in our community. So those are just a few practical ways that we're trying to have impact. Again, everyone on this panel, their arenas are different, their backgrounds are different, but I'm just giving you an example of what we're doing. And this is stuff no one sees. You see a church on the corner, like, oh, that's Faithful Central, you keep driving. But we're actually kind of doing some work for God in the community. You know what I'm saying? So that's just an example.
All right, thanks, Bishop. Let me just say this. We're not going to be able to get everybody to ask questions to this panel, but all the panels coming up, you'll get a chance to ask them questions. So don't worry about it.
3 minutes.
We got 3 minutes. So, young
we
brother.
have about 5 minutes left before we have to move it on. 3 minutes, sorry, 3 minutes.
All right, Bubba, young man.
Young fella.
What is your name and your age?
My name is King Elton Ford. I'm 14 years old. I attend Bourbon Day Jesuit High School.
Get him a little closer to the microphone.
I attend Bourbon
Go ahead,
Day.
start again. Your name?
My name is King Elton Ford. I'm 14 years old. I attend Bourbon Day Jesuit High School. I live in Lomita, California, but as my time at Bourbon Day, this is my first year, it's in the Watts community, and I've seen that it's poverty-stricken. I've seen a whole bunch of homeless people. My mom works at she works at a center that helps out with that. She takes in people. She's a taking specialist, and I appreciate her so much. And I would love to share with my people in Lomita, the people, my neighbors, what happens out there, and I want to enlighten them, and I want to show them that it's different out there than what it is where I live at. And I feel like that.
Take your time, brother. Take your time, man. Take your time.
This is my grandson. I've been coming to the Men's Empowerment Summit for the last 3 years. I brought him out here because I wanted him to see black men in action. I wanted him to see what power really feels it's like when it comes from the black man. Now, one of the things that we have to do as black men is we have to organize, and we have to show support for our sisters in everything that they do. Without our sisters, we are nothing. So I want him and every other black man in here, young, old, whatever. We have to organize. We have to have one voice that we speak from.
All right. Thank you. And please take your seats because you're going to get a chance to ask questions for the whole panel. So don't, you know. We got one more youngin'? Okay.
Check.
Let's go.
Check. There we go.
You'll get a chance. Don't worry. You know, we're going to be here all day. You get a chance. Those of you, just take your seats for a second because we got a lot of other panelists coming out as well. So,
all right. This is my nephew. He told me that I had to come to stand with him, so I'm gonna let him talk.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Titus. I just wanted to say, like, in schools, they don't really teach us about elections and all of that, and how my mom had to teach me about that stuff, and she said once I turn 18, immediately she's going to go get me registered. But I just wanted to really talk about how I want to learn more about elections and things about that, but in schools, how if you speak up about it, it's like considered not cool to like, you know, talk about Trump or talk about Kamala, and how they teach us, the kids tell us not to talk about it. So
we're doing it too.
And in LAUSD, they have some rules where you can't speak about your political. Oh, I'm in 11th grade, and I don't have a question, no.
All right. We got to wrap it up.
Real quick.
Go ahead, Coach.
Real quick, you know what, we like I said, Magnificent Men, Ultimate Student, it's a nonprofit. We have discussions. We do a bi-weekly sit down where we talk about all those political topics so you can get more knowledge of it, and we will direct you to some literature.
Yeah, Carl, this is important. This is Coach E, this is important. What you just said is probably in that 5%.
Yeah.
Yep.
He wouldn't even know what to do. So we're giving these young people a hard time, but they don't even, he literally said out loud, they don't know what to do. So organizations like Coach E's, our church, we have a whole forum where we're gonna walk through what it means and how a person votes. So if you're not getting it at your school, we got you. All right, all you gotta do is come, I'll get the date. If you wanna meet me afterwards, I'll give you the date, we're gonna have it. And you can come to our church or go to Coach E. You go to the church? Come on over here, man. There you go. Come on. Hey.
All right, a couple of things before we let you go. You know, somebody mentioned organize. And I did the actual interview with Stokely Carmichael, Kwame Ture on his deathbed. Somebody was holding the phone when he was doing it on the front page. His last words, he said, tell our people to organize. He kept saying it over and over. That was the words of Kwame Ture, Stokely Carmichael. One thing else I want to mention, the sister mentioned that if people are caught up in the system, you know, a lot of brothers are caught up in the system, if they're on parole, check if they can vote. Because sometimes they'll tell you can't vote because you're involved in the system, or you're on parole, or you've done your time and you're out. So please check. Okay, coming up, we got a panel. So just give this panel a round of applause, family.
October 19th.
All righty. So we got our next panel coming, and these are going to be talking about legal issues. We got a lot of stuff we're going to talk about today. So we want you to remain in your seats. And this, because what we want to do when we leave here is come up with solutions. All the information that you hear today, take it back with you. Take it to your homes, your families, your church, your mosque, and let the brothers and sisters know this is what our plans are to do. These are solutions. And I thank you for sharing this information with us today. Thank you.
Give it up for Carl Nelson and all the panelists, ladies and gentlemen. How about it for all these amazing panelists? Now listen, DJ Ricky, where Ricky Ruckus? Rick, come here. Everything's going to shift to the buildings over here, ballroom A, B, C, and D. We have amazing panels coming up. Ricky Ruckus and myself are going to host a panel later about Project 2025, okay? It's going to be over here. And then also something to remember, expungement. If you are interested in someone in expungement, we have folks over here in this other building taking care of things like this. This is Ricky Ruckus from KJLH.
How y'all doing? How y'all doing? What's up, huh? Go on now. Hey, so we going over to ballroom A, B, and C. We got a lot going on, so don't get stuck in one spot. It's a lot of different things going on. I know it's a lot, but just move around and make sure you get to where you need to get to. But me and Andre, we doing Project 2025. I don't want it to be just a panel of us talking because it's 900 pages. None of us know exactly what's going on. I want it to be more like of a conversation. Everybody in the room, if you know something about it, don't be afraid to, give it to her. I'm country, I'm from North Carolina, but y'all can understand what I'm saying. I see y'all in ballroom C.